DC 90 at Andrews Air Force Base. It's 96 at Fort Washington. Just got that update. 90 at Fort Belvoir. It is 85 in Fairfax and 89 as Leesburg. So we are quickly getting into the 90s and it's not even 10 a.m. We'll top out around 98 in the DC area today with a few clouds and isolated showers and storms. We're up to 96 by noon. It feels like 106 there. 97 by 2 p.m. feels like 106. And by 4 o'clock, 96 feels like 105. There you can see a hit or miss shower or storm make its way across the area. Not everyone is going to see that storm, but the possibility is certainly there.
All right, as you just saw, it's pretty warm outside right now. It's not pretty warm. It's just straight up hot.
It's hot.
It's no longer pretty warm. And it's only going to get a lot hotter as the day progresses.
Health officials are warning people to limit outdoor activity, especially during the midday hours.
Jacqueline Quinn went to a local park in Northwest DC to see how runners in our area are staying safe.
Yeah, we were out here early with the Mid-City Runners. Now, they took off at 6:35. They're finished with their 4 miles. But while we're out here, we want to show you also how hot it is, even in the early hours or in the shade. So I put a couple of ice cubes down here on the ground. This was earlier. I want to say that this one has been out for about 4 minutes, almost completely melted. But I'm going to just go ahead and put another one down here, and we'll get back to this in a little bit. But I also talked with DC Fire and an ER doctor about what to do if you're already feeling a heat illness or how to really get used to this hot weather.
If you immerse somebody's body, especially a patient that's suffering from heat stroke, where their core temperature is above 104, if you actually immerse their body in cool water, you don't even need ice water. And that cool water is 50, 60, even 65 degrees, but markedly cooler than the 104 or above of their core temperature. That heat from the body transfers into the water.
You need to be acclimatized to do things in the heat. Your athletic performance decreases and your body's ability to deal with heat decreases. So the trick is in the first couple really warm days of the summer, you shouldn't get out and try to do what you normally do on a cool day. Instead, you need about a week to 10 days for your body to actually get used to working in the heat.
So taking a look back here at our ice cube, this is the one that I just put down. You can see it's melting so quickly. That tells you just how hot even the ground is out here. Now, also the running group, they did their stretches. They also talk about sunscreen, wearing your sunscreen, and so did the doctor, because if you get a sunburn, it's going to be so much harder for your body to cool down. In DC, I'm Jacqueline Quinn, WUSA 9.
All right, we've got a couple of more days with these dangerous temperatures, so make sure you stay with us. Just scan the QR code that you see right there. Download our free WUSA 9 app, and that way you'll get important information straight to your phone, like forecast updates and information on cooling centers, or just visit WUSA9.com for the latest.
Maryland state government is downsizing. Governor Westmore just announced sweeping cuts to the state's workforce. In a memo to state workers, he outlined a hiring freeze, voluntary buyouts, and plans to downsize government jobs. The budget requires $121 million in cuts for fiscal year 2026, which starts July 1st. Now, the same day the hiring freeze will take effect. The governor said the buyout program is still being worked on and will be determined in the next several weeks, but we can also expect facility consolidations and the elimination of vacant positions. Lots of changes in the state of Maryland. But if you find yourself looking for a job in Prince George's County schools, they're looking to hire. Today, the county is hosting its annual Hiring Palooza. It's from 4 to 6 p.m. at Wise High School in Upper Marlboro. You do not need a background in education to apply for some of these jobs. Make sure you take your resume and be prepared for an interview on site.
Well, new this morning, D.C. Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton has introduced a bill to rename a D.C. post office after Chuck Brown, the godfather of go-go, of course. Within the last hour, we received word from Norton's office about this legislation. The location is 3401 12th Street Northeast, just miles from where Brown helped make go-go the sound of the city. Norton calls it a tribute to his music and his support for D.C. statehood. Wisdom.
All right, also new this hour, an inspiring story out of Charles County, Maryland. 3-time track champion and Adidas and Nike All-American Christian WILBON is making history by becoming the first Westlake High School graduate to be recruited by an Ivy League school after receiving, get this, $1.7 million in scholarship offers from 30 schools. And after all that, he's decided he's going to Columbia University. to talk all about his major accomplishment. We want to bring this track star in and talk to him about that. This is Christian. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for coming in and talking with us about this. Number one, okay, you had all these offers from all these different schools. How did you decide on Columbia? Let's start there.
Columbia just stood out to me more than the other schools. I really love the programs that they have, especially for my major, for biology. Like, they're ranked in the top. And I also love the coach there. He was really good, and he always supported me throughout, like, my senior year of high school.
Okay.
He was always checking in on me and stuff.
Okay.
So,
yeah. Okay. So you built a relationship with him. All right, so listen, I was talking about this with the ladies because they're not familiar with a 5.0. I mean, I am, and you are. They're not. They're not. So explain to the people, to the ladies, how you get to a 5.0.
So I got to a 5.0 by taking all AP classes in my senior year of high school, and I got an A in each class, so it averaged to a 5.0.
Wow, that's amazing. Y'all got that? Y'all got that? Allison, Annie, y'all got that?
Yes.
That's how you get to a 5.0. Now, how did you manage, now, all this success? We see all these medals right here from AAU, all these different medals. So that's a lot of success. How did you manage the success on the track field and in the classroom as well? Because you can have a 5.0, a lot of times 5.0 doesn't equal to all this, and then getting into Columbia as well. How did you do it?
So I managed both of those things by just taking it one step at a time, focusing on one thing at a time. So during school, my main focus is school. During track, my main focus is track. So kind of like separating the two, and just that's the way that I was able to be more effective in each area.
When did you start running? How old were you when you started running?
6 years old.
6 years old. How did you know that that was going to be your thing? Did you go outside and just start running and said, I'm good at this? Or did your parents say, get out of the house and go burn some of that energy and run around the block, and you said, I like it?
Yeah, my parents always realized that I was fast, so they were like, you know, they're just going to try to put me in track, because I tried a bunch of other sports before track, but once I tried track, I loved it the most, and it made me the happiest.
All right, so you got all these medals. I think about you won some of everything, national track, AAU. I see all these medals. Any one of them stick out to you as the best adventure? That's a lot. That's a loaded question because there's a lot going on here. No?
Probably the gold medal that I got at the 2016
This one?
AAU National.
This one?
Yes.
Okay, this one. All right, why was this one so special?
Because that was the first national championship that
Okay.
I won in the 60.
Okay.
So it really gave me a lot of confidence for like the rest of my years running track.
Okay, and again, so tell me about all the races that you run.
So I do all the sprints from the 4 on down, but mainly the 1 and the 2. And in indoor, I do the 55 and the 300.
Okay, all right, and your major again is?
Biology.
Okay, not even an easy major, so you do everything. You challenge yourself on every level, all right? And your parents are big in pushing you in this direction, right?
Yeah, they always tell me to do my best, so.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you very much for coming in and sharing all this with us, and continued success as you get up to Columbia University and continue to run and hopefully break more records and continue to be a superstar and All-American. And don't forget about us. Yeah, when you go to the Olympics and all of those things, come back and visit us, and you get all these endorsements deals, because I know you got some of those too. So yeah. All right. Thank you very much, Christian, and continued success to you. All right, we'll be right back.
This segment is sponsored by Stone Springs Hospital Center. June is Men's Health Month, and today we learn why men's bladder health deserves more attention than you may think. Recently, we chatted with Dr. Nathan Roberts of Stone Springs Hospital Center about what men need to look out for.
I have been here at Stone Springs Hospital for the last 10 years. The hospital's been here for 10 years, so I actually came on board right when it was opening. So this has kind of been my home since I've been here. So it's been a great decade. There's a junk term that we use, something called LUTS, or lower urinary tract symptoms. And this is kind of a combination of all the different symptoms that you can experience, whether that be frequency, urgency, sometimes having issues where you go to the bathroom more at night. You can have hesitancy or obstruction where you feel like you're not getting everything out. The reason why this starts to happen around the age of 40 is because your prostate is starting to get bigger. So what is the prostate? It's an organ that sits right below the bladder, and it's involved in reproduction, but basically it's being fed by testosterone. So as you get older, that gland gets bigger and bigger. So as it gets bigger, the bladder has to work harder to get the urine to come through. So just like if I go to the gym and put a weight in my arm and do a bunch of arm curls, my arm gets bigger. Same thing can happen to the bladder. The bladder, as it pushes harder to get the urine to come out, the bladder wall starts to thicken. And that actually may change the composition and may make it so that it kind of loses some of its elasticity. And so therefore, as you get older, it's not uncommon that you start experiencing more urinary symptoms. So the most common things that you can see, it's very common for us when you go in to see your primary care or to see your urologist, that you would get a urine check. So a urinalysis is basically when you go into the office, they'll collect a little bit of the urine, and there is tests that we can run, and honestly can look at multiple factors or multiple things. It can look at the pH of your urine, it can look at if there's any blood, if there's any sugar, if there's any bilirubin, and it kind of, our urine can be a window into other things that are happening inside the bladder or inside the body. But also, as far as the prostate is concerned, prostate cancer screening is something that typically should start around the age of 45 to 50. If you do have risk factors, then starting at 40 is not a bad idea, and that usually involves a blood test called a PSA, which is something called prostate-specific antigen. So drinking a lot of water is actually very healthy for the bladder itself. Typically, you should be drinking at least 60 to 80 ounces of water a day. Especially as it gets warmer out, you need to put a little bit more in the tank in order for that to help. But honestly, good healthy living. So some of the things that you can do are just make sure you have a good exercise regimen. That's actually been shown to help with bladder health. And if you are a little bit overweight, actually there's literature that shows that if you do lose weight, that can actually help with the symptoms too.